What is this worth? Whatever number you just thought of, that's the wrong kind of answer. A market never tells you a price is correct. It has no opinion. It can't have one. What it does tell you, constantly, is where it's willing to spend time. And time is the whole measurement. By the end of this, you'll be able to look at any chart and point at the price the market actually agreed on, not the one you drew. Here's 30 candles where, by any normal reading, nothing happens. It goes sideways. It's dull. Most people scroll past this and wait for a move. But something is happening. It's just not happening in price. Every one of those candles is a transaction somebody was willing to make at roughly the same number. That's not nothing. That's agreement. So let's count it. Every time a candle trades through a price, that price gets 1 mark. Watch what 30 candles of boredom actually look like when you count them instead of watching them. That fat band is the answer to the question I opened with. 10,505. That's fair value. Not because I drew a line there, because that's where the market spent its time. And then it leaves. 3 candles. One of them does almost all the work. Now look at the histogram while that happens. It barely moves. 150 points of price and almost no time spent anywhere inside it. You end up with a shape, 2 fat areas and a thin waist between them. That waist has a name you already know, a fair value gap. But look at what it actually is. It isn't a box. It isn't a pattern. It's the part of the range where nobody agreed on anything. Price passed through it. No business got done. Which answers a question people ask constantly and usually get told something mystical about. Why does price come back to these? Not because the chart wants to be tidy. Not because gaps must be filled. It comes back because there's unfinished business in there. An auction that never happened. The market goes back to find out whether anyone will trade at those prices now. And there's one level inside it worth more than the edges. The exact middle, 10,625. Some people call it consequent encroachment. It's just the 50% of the gap. Watch. Price comes back down, touches 10,625, and stops there. To the point. That's not magic. That's the middle of the area nobody had agreed on, and it's the first place a real bid could show up. Then the market does the thing that makes this whole idea click. It starts spending time again, somewhere completely different. A second fat band, 10,755. 250 points above the first one. So fair value moved. And that's the part almost nobody says out loud. Fair value isn't a level. It's a verdict. And verdicts get overturned. That's what a trend actually is. A market changing its mind about what something is worth. 3 things you can read off this, starting today. 1. Fat means defended. Price has agreed there before and it will argue there again. 2. Thin means traveled through. Price moves fast in a vacuum in both directions. 3. The middle of the thin part is your reference. Not the edge, the middle. 2 ways this stops working, and you can see both coming. 1. The gap gets accepted. If price goes back in there and starts spending time, if a hump grows inside your gap, it isn't a gap anymore. The market answer the question. Delete it. 2. You profiled the wrong window. A profile of a random 100 candles tells you nothing. Profile the session, the leg, or the day. Something with a beginning and an end. So here's the whole lesson in one sentence. Fair value is where the market spent its time. Everything else on your chart is a story about getting there or a story about leaving. One thing to do this week. Take yesterday's session. Any market. Find the fattest part of it and the thinnest. Just those 2. Then look at where today opened relative to them and tell me in the comments what you found. Next time, what happens when price refuses to leave the fat part? Count the time. See you then.